We all have an opinion on the famous Attitude Era in pro wrestling. That time in the late 90s when the WWE dared everything. Love it or hate it. This period was historical for sports entertainment, and The Godfather was a great example of it. This pimp was one of the most controversial characters. In this video, we will see together everything that made him both outrageous and awesome. You are on the Wrestling Paradise. Why The Godfather was an iconic character, let's go. First of all, it's important to learn how this Godfather character was born. You should know that he was Papa Shango, Kama Mustafa, a member of the Nation of Domination, and at that moment there was a turning point in his career. Charles Wright, his real name, knew his contract was expiring soon, and that without The Rock, who is also in the Nation of Domination, he would probably be fired. He spoke to his wife and she told him that if he could show the fans who he really was and not a voodoo wizard, he might have a chance of succeeding. He needed to be more himself and take advantage of the creative freedom he is given to create something that fits him. For your information, Charles Wright runs a strip club in Las Vegas in real life, no kidding. He was there before wrestling, and it's his plan B when he's not in the WWE. He had to deal with pimps that he hated so much that he forced them to leave his establishment, even if he had to hit them. His wife is going to find him the name of the Godfather, but it wasn't planned for him to be a pimp. That's what made Stone Cold Steve Austin's success at that time, being in his authentic personality. Charles already wants to be called the Godfather so as not to end up with nothing. He is determined not to get fired. One time, he participated in a non-televised show where he faced Bradshaw, who would become JBL a few years later. On that day, he told Bradshaw he was a pimp and offered time with his ladies. At that moment, the women didn't accompany him, but he said they were waiting backstage. When the future JBL refused to fight, he said, he made the fans react who loved this whole scene, and now the pimp character of the Godfather was born. What makes him great is of course his entrances and the atmosphere they exude. On November 1st, 1998 at the Sunday Night Heat show, the Godfather was in the ring with The Undertaker. At that moment, in a colorful outfit to say the least, and after taking off his feather hat, the pimp will try to offer a deal to the dead man.
I know that you like hoes.
We have to realize that we have the most serious character in the Federation, and that a guy who presents himself as a pimp tells him that he knows he likes the ladies. Even if he manages to remain intimidating as usual, we feel that The Undertaker is holding back his laughter. He is facing someone who is actually one of his best friends in real life, and he finds himself in this surreal scene where the Godfather offers him some good time with his ladies if he forfeits the match. Finally, Taker will be one of the few who will not give in to temptation. This is one of the most entertaining segments of the pimp, who never had such an important superstar in the ring with him. In real life, the two men are great friends, and it is mainly thanks to The Undertaker that he works in the company. His scenes were often original and funny, which was a great strength of his character. When we see him arrive at the Sunday Night Heat show on January 17, 1999 to face Goldust, how can we not love him? He is bursting with energy. We feel all his enthusiasm. His theme song, in which we hear him speak, starts with a few electric guitar notes before a rather funky track and goes perfectly to the character. The fans knew his catchphrases by heart. There was this kind of convoy of ladies who accompanied him to each of his entrances, the Ho Train. It was like a wagon that he was driving, and he invited everyone on board. This popularity also enabled him to enjoy success in the WWE. On April 12, 1999 on Raw, the Big Boss Man was supposed to face Goldust for the Intercontinental title, but the pimp would see himself taking his spot. On commentary, Jerry Lawler was the happiest to see the Godfather ladies arrive, and his enthusiasm helped even more to invest in this segment. The deal he was doing with the Big Boss Man is hilarious. In exchange for having the 5 ladies just for him, he agrees to give him this Intercontinental title opportunity. After a very short match in which the pimp does a move where he imitates a train and rushes at his opponent in the corner, he wins the belt. He can celebrate in good company, and personally, I am a fan of this atmosphere. He's dancing, everyone's having fun, it's entertaining to watch. Against all odds, the Godfather held a rather important belt, since it is traditionally a first step for a WWE wrestler before winning the main title. He was so great, and he was so unanimous among the spectators at the time, that even the women loved the Godfather and his Ho Train. Some even had signs where they asked to be part of it. The Godfather was a guarantee of a good atmosphere, of fun. For example, at WrestleMania 2000, he had a tag team match with D'Lo Brown against Bull Buchanan and the Big Boss Man. He had the honor of being the opening match of the night, which he can be proud of since it shows that we believed in him to set the mood in the arena. He even had an entrance with the rapper Ice-T, who was dressed up like him. So he launched the most important show of the year on a high note. To understand The Godfather's success, you have to know that at the heart of his popularity, we were in a context where the company was politically incorrect, more adult. We had strong characters, stories without any limit, even shocking. Television ratings were better than ever in the company's history. Everyone recognized The Godfather at the airport at that time, whereas a few years before, it was only a few people. Like the big stars of the WWE at that moment, he was simply on screen as he was backstage. Someone who liked to have fun and who was chill. Like it often happens in wrestling, he was at his best when he wasn't playing a role but when he was true to his personality. By the way, Vince McMahon, the boss at that time, also liked this character and supported him completely. When The Godfather explained to him the meaning of his catchphrases that could be related to marijuana and how he wanted to reach the fans through it, Vince was okay with it. Unfortunately, The Godfather's career was no longer the same from the moment the WWE became a public company and when it had to be careful with its image. He will be transformed into The Goodfather, being part of the Right to Censor team. Then he will later become a completely different and much softer version of The Godfather. He will end up no longer working full-time in the Federation and only coming back from time to time to create fun moments. We can remember September 21st, 2007, when another wedding took place on SmackDown. This time it was Teddy Long and Crystal Marshall in a carefree and light atmosphere. At the moment when the crowd was asked if anyone opposed this union, The Godfather arrived with his infamous convoy. He embodied temptation, but Teddy loved his Crystal too much to give in to it. This will not be the case for all his male colleagues. By the time the pimp returns to the locker room, all the wrestlers will accompany him except Ron Simmons. Even commentator JBL is going to quit his job to join the party. He made another surprise appearance at the 2013 Royal Rumble, arriving with only 2 women this time. He will take off his coat and hat, enter the ring, and be directly taken out by Dolph Ziggler in one of the fastest eliminations of all time. But it will take more to affect the Godfather's morale, who puts on his hat, his glasses, and leaves happy. All this represents well what made him so great. With him, we were always laughing, light-hearted, he was entertaining and memorable. All this career full of unforgettable scenes, from Papa Shango to Godfather, but also Kama Mustafa and the Right to Censor, will earn him to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2016. It's the ultimate consecration for a wrestler, and it definitely makes him a legend. He was inducted by his friends JBL and Ron Simmons, and he will delight the crowd with his usual good humor. Certainly, The Godfather is not a Roman Reigns who main evented WrestleMania multiple times. He is not a John Cena who collected titles. But on the other hand, he was more popular with the fans than a lot of champions, and that will remain his legacy. Whether he shocks us or makes us laugh, we will never forget The Godfather. We can say that The Godfather was a unique character. That's undeniable. I hope you had a good time watching this video, and I invite you to stay on the Paradise of Wrestling to look at some other ones. See you right away.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. What?